Thank you all. Next up, we have Mr.Chaiwat Kovavisarach, who is the President and CEO of Bangchak Corporation. I'd like to invite him up to the stage, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr.Chaiwat, thank you for coming today. Bangchak has a history stretching back about 3 decades. You have fuel marketing, you have refining, you have a renewable business, biofuel unit. When did the company first decide to integrate sustainability into its corporate strategy, and why? Why did you make that step?
Right. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's such an honor that I've been singled out to sit here with you. About the question you asked, I guess that the refinery itself was built some 60 years ago, and then it's been corporatized 35 years ago. At that point in time, we still, sit pretty much at the suburb of Bangkok. But I believe that the management at that time have a vision that Bangkok will expand. We actually right now sitting in the middle of Bangkok now. So if you were to go to airport, you will see, especially during the night, very nice scenes of the refineries. So I guess back then the management would try to make friends with communities surrounding the refineries. They come up with many different activities. As you might know that oil and gas companies are actually pretty much like commodities where there's a lot of volatilities, and they actually don't have that much cash to splash around. So it's mostly sweat, where the employees of the companies start work with the communities. And from there, from those activities, eventually we can have adopted into the businesses. Like the first, that very tangible one is back in 1990s. That point in time, probably we know that oil price was, on the low. And rice also has actually, have problem with rice price as well. So management at that point in time started a program for rice for oil. It's not with the Middle East, but rice for oil where, those agricultural cooperative, they have problem receiving sort of oil that is blended with waters, and that, damage their machineries, agricultural machineries. And we believe that the fact that we need to be making friends with communities around the refineries as well as feeding our employees, we need the rice. So what happened is that the first agricultural cooperative service station opening in 1990s, where we give them oil. Those oil are basically pure from the refineries. The oil that can, user can be trusted. At the same time, we get rice, and we hand out that rice to the community around the refineries, as well as a lunch in the cafeteria. So from there, 1990s up until now, we have developed 600 different service stations across the countries run by agricultural cooperative. So that basically is probably the first of what you call social enterprise, where they are a big outlet for us, and at the same time we develop a lot of activities with them. Like in 1997, when we have this Asian crisis, we believe that the fact that we need to every now and then hand out certain premium when people come to fill up their tanks in our service stations. So rather than just buy from those big retailer, we go to the agricultural cooperative and see if their product have any problem, we can acquire that product and hand out as a premium. So that gradually we have this kind of gene, DNA if you like, that people will always think about how can we balance the financial bottom line of the company as well as the social part of it, a double bottom line if you like. So that's how things get evolved over time. So I guess it's basically in each and every one of Bangchak employees now that whenever we think about something, we need to balance out between the financial returns and also the social returns of it.
So based on that, describe to me the response you think you have seen from investors and from the public to the fact that you have integrated this strategy into your business. What's been the response?
I guess it's kind of hard to say, right? As David just mentioned, that we still in Asia and it's not pretty much there yet. But what I can see is that We went through the crisis back in '97, just like any other corporates in Thailand, and we can see that those customers and those stakeholders of Bangchak are actually, really looking, finding way to help rescue the companies. So there's some kind of attachment to the company as well. That help, and also each and every time we launch any new product, then people will actually value our greenness there. The latest example will probably be last year when the government first introduced B20s, when you mix, biodiesel 20% into the diesel. That was new product, and the fact that we've been seen as a leaders in these biofuels. So the demands we actually pick up very quickly. It took 2 months that we become the market leaders. Although in general we are number 2, but for that specific products, because it's green product, it pick up so quickly, and we actually occupy almost like 40-50% of the market shares. In terms of investors, I guess nothing much I can say other than that our shares is actually pretty stable. That's probably the best way to put it. When other people rise, we are stable. When other people's going down, we are also stable. It's a bit bond-like, but I think probably one is probably because of the diversification of the company's business, and the other one may be because of this, sustainability element that we have.
So you have BCPG, which was listed a few years ago in the stock market. What's the share of earnings that's now coming from renewables compared to the rest of the operation? What's the split?
Right. Yeah. Because since I assumed the office 5 years ago, so I'm trying to restructure the company a little bit. Okay. As a mothership, we call it Bangchak. We basically focus with the traditionals, which is I&M or refineries and marketings. And then we regroup the solar business under the umbrellas of BCPG, and then we position it as a green electron providers. So they will only produce electricity from renewable source, being solar, wind farms, lately geothermals, as well as hydro runoff rivers. So those are green electrons. I think that was 2015, and at the same time we get up another group, which is we call it bio-based product, where we amalgamate our biofuels factory with one of the Thailand's largest sugar mills subsidiaries, Khon Sugars, and then we rename that to BBGI, probably stand for Bio-Based Green Innovations, and that will basically focus on biofuel as well as bio-based, say for example plastic, PHA. That was something that we are after, which is marine degradables. Okay, we will just do something green on that part, or even what just been discussed, plant-based food, that kind of things. We Bangchak actually going to have a forum about synthetic biologies come 7th of November. If any of you have time, feel free to stop at my office, and we will have that forums on the 7th of November. Across the board, I believe that we are probably, it's fair to say that we're not that big, but as a percentage wise, the green business contributes something like 40% of our total EBITDA.
40%?
So 40, yeah. So that's actually quite a big shares compared to any conventional gas companies, where the green part will probably be about 5 to 10%. So I guess we are actually making a push on that part.
Why do you think more Thai companies aren't embracing, aren't integrating ESG into their business strategies? What's stopping this becoming a wider trend here in Thailand?
Well, I believe that it has been adopted. I guess right after the crisis, we have set up so many different agencies, in the countries, being IODs, institution of directors or something. I can't remember exactly the full name. And then some other, CAC, counter anti-corruption, that kind of things. So ESG actually became quite a big theme in Thailand, and we even have this kind of, ESG certificate handout. And I believe that there are more than 100 listed companies actually part of that, sort of societies. So it is something that been promoting, and I guess it's starting to getting tractions. But in the bigger pictures, in the regions, fund from the regions, I have very little knowledge about that.
I mean, do you think things like, for example, in the past 2 or 3 years in Thailand, we've seen visible worsening of air pollution during periods of the year. There's lots of concern about the level of plastic pollution that's happening right now. Do you think these trends are going to force companies to embrace more ESG strategies?
I believe so. I guess we have seen a lot of that actually happening at the moment. There's a lot of talk about single-use plastic. I just come back to my own refinery just now that we vow that starting from next year, now for the Bangchak people will use single-use plastic. So that was something, and that's something that we're looking at. Again, just like rice for oil activities we did this time around, we will try to, find a way to develop business from there. Bangchak also, as you might know, own a small coffee brand called Internins, where we have about 500 Internin coffee shops across the countries. We sell about 10 million cup of coffee in Thailand. And in each and every cup of coffee of us made out of bioplastic, which is degradable. What do they call it? Depositable plastic. It's made out of PLA. And then all the cold drink we have, we redesign the cap so that you don't need to use straw when you drink those drinks. So that's how we make our effort to address all these issues.
So you're kind of describing a change from what we've seen in the past few decades. The petrochem industry took off 3 or 4 decades in the 70s. Yeah. And then for various reasons, there was a flood of plastic coming into the country.
That's right.
You think that's going to change next 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I guess we definitely try to address the issue. Change overnight, but I guess we make an effort to make it happen. Just like said, the coffee cup that we use in our coffee shop is basically bio-based and it's disposable plastic. And at the same time, we also hand out, when you top up your oils in our service station, hand out a bottle of waters that made of PET plastic. We right now have a program with the plastic recycles, IVL, and then those PET bottles now can be made into a small hat that we hand out to the Bangkok metropolitan workers who sweep the road. They need a hat. We make that hat out of PET bottle, that kind of things. So we are making an effort, and we hope that we make an impact eventually.
So we only have a couple of minutes left. What's your vision for the company in the next 5 years? What are your key deliverables for your sustainability strategy?
Right. I guess we have adopted this new missions where we, basically our vision is evolving green innovations, and we hope that we could be, one of the leading agencies that develop green technologies, especially in the energy space, so that they can be, in use and at the same time, give us a better bottom line. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Khun Chaiwat. Please, a round of applause for Khun Chaiwat for his conversation today. Thank you. Thank you very much.